What's going on, y'all? This is Tatum. I'm here with my beautiful wife, Corinne. So we decided to make this video. We're gonna give you guys an opportunity to jump in here. Let me know if the audio sounds good. But we decided to make this video because I think it's invaluable to point out hypocrisy and to point out that you don't have to be afraid to call out cowardice politicians when you see them. You don't have to be afraid if you're doing the right thing, in the right spirit, by calling out these clowns. And in my personal opinion, Major Williams was wrong for attempting to sue my wife for exposing the things that he's done online with receipts. So I'm gonna let my wife talk a little bit about it, and then we're gonna bring our lawyer in so you guys can have more of a robust conversation and hear, from a lawyer's perspective, what we're gonna do about this case, how we're gonna handle it. And if you guys have any questions, you can ask him, and then our lawyer can handle it. But we definitely want to show the world that you can't sue people because you get exposed. That's just the way it is. Baby, you got something?
Yeah, so I don't know how many of you are familiar with what's going on and with this case, that Major Williams, the write-in candidate for governor in California, is suing myself and two of my girlfriends. A few months ago, I believe it started in April, a video was made about his spending report for his campaign in 2020. So he campaigned on, California had the longest shutdowns. People are suffering from losing their jobs. Their businesses were closed down. And going through his spending report, he spent $10,000+ on staff meetings at a place called the Lido House, which is in Newport Beach. It's a swanky hotel and restaurant, which is hours from where he lived in Pasadena. What else? He had multiple stays at the Ritz-Carlton at $600 a pop per night. He had a couple of $1,000s a month on limousine rentals, just crazy stuff. So, sorry, I'm reading some of the comments and captions in here. So I reposted the video and let my followers know I don't support Major Williams, and this is why. The next day I was tagged, I don't know, a couple dozen times in a video that he had made that said, in reference to me sharing the video, that said Brandon Tatum can't control his wife. I was upset and annoyed. And so I said, okay, buddy, if that's what it is, we can do that. So there were some other things I had known about him. I shared them. Within days, women had come forward, a few of them, and let me know that he had pushed himself up on them, kissed them against their will. Now, Major Williams is a married man, although he didn't bring his wife around on the campaign. I had messages from people saying, I had no idea he was married and had kids. I thought he was a single bachelor. He is married and has kids. And after we made these things public and called him out on his poor behavior, now all of a sudden he's a family man. He's a Christian. He parades his wife and family around. So people, will think he's a great father and husband.
Well, I'll just say, from my perspective, as a man, when you come out and say, I can't control my wife, you're in trouble. I think that's inappropriate to say about anybody's wife. You don't bring people's wife into this thing. That's the cardinal rule. If you got a beef with me, then you stick to the subject at hand. You can talk about me all you want, but then you come out and say something about my wife, tell me I can't control her like she's some type of cage animal, then you're gonna be in trouble, man. And then you're not gonna do that to women. Women are gonna come out against you if you go out and act like you are some chauvinist, jerk that's pushing yourself on women or whatever the case may be. So all of these things that we've spoken about are things that people have brought to us 100% with receipts. And then also you have a reasonableness in criticizing somebody in their candidacy. I personally think I'm not getting sued for whatever reason. He didn't sue any men, and I can name off the top of my head at least 5 men that was just dragging him through the internet way before Corinne was doing it. But he didn't sue me. But in my personal opinion, I do not think that this gentleman is a reasonable candidate. Why, Mr. Tatum? He has no experience. He runs his campaign stating that he has no experience, as if it's irrelevant to have experience in probably the largest state in the union. And if you run for a mayoral race And when he ran for mayor of Pasadena, I didn't know much about him. I supported him because, you know, I want to see the brother conservative dude win. And once you take a massive L in a mayoral race and you run for a gubernatorial race, it raises red flags. And I think that's where it got me on the path of saying, man, something's not right. There's no way you're going to win a governor's race when you can't even win more than 7% of a mayoral race in Pasadena. And then when all the other stuff comes out, he makes a statement about my wife. I mean, that just led him in the wrong direction. And so that's how he got. And we're going to bring our lawyer on to kind of discuss the legal ramifications of it. And like I said at the beginning, for those of you just joining, the reason why we're doing this is because we want people to understand how the process works. You can criticize candidates as long as you're doing it in good faith and you have evidence of what you're saying. You can criticize these candidates and you can get a good lawyer that can defend you against somebody trying to sue you. You can sue a chicken fried steak if you want to. You can sue anybody. You know, you get my drift. You can sue anybody. That does not mean that person is wrong or that they're going to be held liable. Let me get a couple super chats and then I think we can bring in the lawyer if you don't have anything else to say.
Okay, I'll say a little bit more to add to it, and then we can bring in Phil. Okay,
make sure y'all hit the like button, so the video can jump into the algorithm. If you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. It's gonna get juicy. I'm just warning y'all. Let's see. Flustered. Don't know or like him already. He needs to stop now. First of all, he's not even a legitimate candidate in the recall. This dude was one of the first people to announce, and he's not even on the ballot. That should tell you a lot about what's going on. Okay, Squad Unity, thank you so much for the super chat. Hey, Mr. Tatum, the collab.
No, it says, hey, Mrs. Officer.
Oh, hey, Miss Officer, the collab we didn't know we needed. We still in America, and I pray. God bless. Thank you so much. Let's see. Warrior, thank you so much for the super chat. You are so loved, Korean. Keep your head up. And Elizabeth, thanks so much for the super chat. You can sue whoever you want for whatever you want, but whether it's valid or not is a different story. 100%.
Exactly. So there was. I'm trying to remember, like the timeline of things. So his staff, they confronted him about the allegations. He, in so many words, when they said, did you assault those girls? Are the allegations true? He said, well, define assault. So his staff said, okay, you're a D-bag. We quit. He refused to pay his staff unless they agreed to sign like an NDA after the fact saying we won't say anything bad about Major if we cash this check. None of them signed it.
And we know this because we spoke to them directly. These people directly had a conversation with us about some of these things.
Right. And everything that myself or the two other women, Camille and Lindy, who he is also suing, he named us all three in a lawsuit together. Everything we've posted has been his own text messages to women, his own DMs to women, screenshots of his own tweets, Tumblr posts, Facebook posts. We didn't make anything up. We didn't hear anything down through the grapevine. We didn't, nothing was a game of telephone. Everything is a first-hand account of his behavior with somebody, or screenshots, proof of his own words to somebody. So we didn't lie. I think defamation, I think he's suing us for libel, I believe. There was no lie. There were no lies told about Major Williams. Everything we said is 100% true and provable with receipts. So what else? He didn't pay his staff. Other women have, messaged their experiences with him that were inappropriate. Other women came out and told one of his staff after they quit that, yes, Major touched me inappropriately. One of his staff, and this is all in a sworn, it's like a sworn statement under penalty of perjury or a sworn affidavit, if you can call it, that women came forward and told them, yes, Major touched me inappropriately. One of the staff said, I witnessed Major being physically aggressive with women while we were campaigning. I'm trying to think. There's a few other things that's, if you want to read the lawsuit. So I believe in June, this all started in April. May, we continued to post about him. The more we would learn, the more we would post. We uncovered that he was in his, one of his failed, I guess, businesses. He was a rapper. a pretty terrible rapper, in my opinion.
He was trash. He was super trash.
But it's and a lot of people say, oh, that was his past. His past is his past. We all have the past. It's true. But it's not like he was 18, 19, 20, a young man rapping about just disgusting, disrespectful things about women. She looking like she want to F me. I don't care if she's a schoolgirl or ratchet. I'll F them all. Just disgusting lyrics. And he wasn't a young 18, 19, 20 kid. He was in his mid-30s. I believe he was married. I don't think he had kids yet, but he was a grown man rapping about this stuff. And then when people, his followers, supporters would ask him about his rap music, he said, I have it posted on my Instagram, but he said, I'm not, I'm not ashamed of my rap. I think my rap is very inspirational.
Yeah. So let me jump in here real quick. A lot of people are saying, who is Major Williams? Well, so a lot of y'all don't have no idea who he is. However, you're not going to get it. People are not going to get away with doing stuff like this. I don't care who you are. You can be a bum on the street. You're going to sue me. You're going to sue my wife. I think it's a cowardice move, and we're going to expose you. So let me jump to this real quick. We did an article about our staff on Tatum Report did an article. I think it pulls up. I think so you guys see the article. So if you want to know more of the details, we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna bring our lawyer on here in a second. But if you want to know more of the details, there's an article written, very robust article describing all of these things that we're talking about. I mean, we got receipts. You know what I'm saying? This is a little bit of the court docket. Here's messages, screenshots. I mean, it's green screen, so it read it out. So if you guys go and look at this little part right here,
it's a green.
It greened it out for some reason. So it's an actual message. You could go on and look at this spending. I mean, we have the receipts. Tatum Report got the receipts, baby. I mean, whatever you want to do. I mean, you see some of the stuff he posted online, supporting Louis Farrakhan, him out here protesting against the police,
anti-police. Last summer, he was on a whole. Last summer, he went to Minneapolis during the George Floyd riots, talking about police are supposed to protect and defend us, but I don't see them protecting and defending, people who look like me. We need to hold them accountable. Was on that march on the freeway in Minneapolis where the freeway was shut down. The truck driver was pulled from his truck and beaten. Someone told me the truck driver died. I don't know if that's true, but I know most of you or many of you are familiar with that. Major Williams was there marching, against police brutality. And then a few months later, it's not expedient to collect donations from white Republican donors in California. So he changes his tune and now he's pro-law enforcement.
And I want you guys to know, this is one of his channels, one of his little makeup channels or whatever.
One of his Twitter accounts.
And then he owns this, but this is what he had to say about Christians. Minus the Christian part. But I'm just saying, this is some of the things that he posted that we captured, but it's all in this article. You can see it. There's no doubt about it. You can see the things that we have been speaking about, many of which are presented here in the Tatum Report document. So
that's what my girlfriends and I were doing. The two other women who he's suing were actually big supporters of his. They would invite him to events. They connected him with fundraisers. And so they were pretty upset. They felt duped and they felt that, responsible for having other people donate money to this man. So rightly so, they were upset. And so they would post, one of the women rarely and hardly posted about him, but she has a pretty big following. So we think that he's suing us to silence her. But they were upset. So they were like, hey, people, this is who this man really is. He's not who he claims to be. Stop giving him your money. So he didn't like it. June, I think July, he served one of the women in the lawsuit. So that's how we all found out about it. Two of us were never even served. We just know that we were named in this lawsuit because we're all friends. So he's served the one woman. Anywho, why a man? So in the lawsuit, he names damages as some of the reasons why he's suing us, and that he had severe stress, he had tummy aches. It's listed in the lawsuit. You can read it all on Arete, REETE.law. That's our lawyer's website. You can see the whole lawsuit. You can see our response. You can see all of our sworn affidavits or our statements. He sued because he listed, we gave him tummy aches. Our post about him gave him headaches, sleepless nights, marital miscommunications.
What is marital miscommunication? I saw that,
It
and I
means he
said,
cheated and he got caught.
well, allegedly. So, you know, marital miscommunication. That's a lame way of saying that you messed up and you have to explain some stuff to your wife that you can't explain. But anyway, let me bring our lawyer in, Phil. So without further ado, this is the young man I say young man. I don't like to call people old. I say a young man because he is young, very experienced. I mean, we decided to go with him because, you know, confidence is a lot of importance to me. And when you come out and pretty much our lawyer laughed at it because this is, you know, y'all know what it is, but we'll bring him in. I ain't gonna speak too much for him, but welcome our lawyer, Phil. What's up, brother? Let me see if we can fix it. Okay, there we go.
What's going on, Tatum family?
Hey, what's up? What's up? So what's your thoughts on this, man?
Well, when Corinne Camille told me about it originally, I remember being on the phone call and I just said to them, this is an anti-SLAPP motion right away. Because when I hadn't even seen the complaint at that point, but when they were describing what it was and what they were alleging, my first immediate thought was this is absolutely going to get thrown out of court under an anti-SLAPP. You cannot, and for anybody who doesn't know what an anti-SLAPP is, I'll give you a little bit of a background on it. So here in California, we have this anti-SLAPP statute. A SLAPP stands for Strategic Litigation Against Public Participation. And in the 70s, they wrote this statute and passed it because they saw that there was a rise in a lot of people suing each other to try and scare them to stop talking. And that's exactly what we have here is that people would sue somebody and figure, well, I'm going to sue you and maybe you'll just go away and stop talking about me. But now they created this statute that if you're engaged in what is protected activity or protected speech, in California, really defines it very, very broadly. It's not just public figures. It could be businesses. It could be law firms, anything of public interest. So they passed this statute. And basically what happens is you file an anti-SLAPP against a complaint that infringes upon your First Amendment or your free speech rights. And then the court looks at it. And if they agree with it, they say, yeah, you can't do that. So they dismiss the entire case. They dismiss the complaint and the case is over. So when they were explaining it to me the first time around, I said, this is absolutely an anti-SLAPP. This is almost so blatantly an anti-SLAPP. I don't know how their attorney didn't see what they were walking into right away. Almost to the point of you wonder if they were thinking, can you sue somebody for exercising their free speech? Because he's a public candidate. And that's almost the highest level of free speech that's protected is protecting anybody's speech against politicians. That's like the bedrock and foundation of our country is to be able to criticize candidates. So that's basically what an anti-SLAPP is. And it's, in my view, this is a perfect example. I'm confident that we'll succeed on this and that this complaint and this whole case will be dismissed come November.
Right. And I want people to understand that they're just not joining in. You may not know who Major Williams is. He's running for governor of the state of California. He ran for mayor of Pasadena and took a L. I think he got like 7% of the vote. 8% of the vote, which drew suspicion when somebody gets 8% of the vote and then they run for a gubernatorial race with zero experience in politics, zero experience in running a sufficient business of any caliber of financial, worth comparable to the gubernatorial, race or comparable to being a governor of the state of California with one of the biggest economies in the world. So it raises red flags, and I think that one of the reasons why Corinne was so dedicated to this, because she is from California, and when you see a person taking advantage of patriots, it's not right. We call out liberals when they do this, and we're going to call out people on our side when they do this.
People who claim to be on our side.
Right, that they on our side, quote unquote. But I want people to understand this, and this is not necessarily just for this instance, but you need to be aware of the people that you support. You need to do your research. You can't just blindly believe in people just because they have an R next to their name or just because they're black, that you want to jump off a cliff and say this is the savior of the conservative movement. If we get a black man that can, that can push out conservative talking points, you need to look these people up, man. I would argue that you should trust no candidate and you should have them prove themselves. and you should see what they're all about based on the way they treat other people, based on their history. All of those things matter, and we will get duped, and swindling somebody into office that's not sufficient, and that's going to be either a rhino or another crook. And I think that our concern with Major Williams is that this is another individual that's using the heartstrings of America to gain money and fame with no end to it. I mean, I don't think he has any chance of winning. He's not on the ballot. You know, he's one of the first candidates to come out, and he's not even on the ballot. Nobody can even vote for him. Nobody's going to see his name. He wants you to write him in, which is not a successful measure.
Yes, he failed to pull the papers, return the papers, pay the fee to get to be listed on the official ballot in California. He said his admin sabotaged him and didn't turn in the paperwork. So he was able, even though he was able to file the papers to sue us and pay that fine and pay that fee, he was unable to get on the ballot. So I think a week or so later, he was able to pay the fee to become the official write-in. So to become an official write-in candidate. So that's how he's running now, is that I'm write in my name. I'm an official write-in candidate. Phil, what happens next? So we responded with the anti-SLAPP. If any of you guys want to read it, it's on your website, right? Arete, RETE.law. And then what comes next?
So now they have an opportunity to oppose the motion. So they're going to try to attempt to explain why it doesn't fall under anti-SLAPP. I'm interested to see what that argument is going to be, because it's so blatantly under anti-SLAPP. But we get a chance after they oppose it to reply. Then we go to the hearing on November 8th. And it's a lot of the judge looks at it. He may have a tentative ruling. He may give us good news the night before the hearing and say, I agree with the anti-SLAPP. This should be dismissed. And at that point, usually when there's a tentative ruling, the judge has already made up his mind. And unless you come to the court the next morning and have some incredible evidence that he hadn't thought of, it's usually pretty much locked in stone. So that's what we have to wait for. It's not automatic. The judge isn't going to look at it in his chambers by himself and go, this is obvious, so I'm going to dismiss it right away. They do get their chance for their voice to be heard. They get to oppose it. We get to reply and clarify and just further state why it falls under anti-SLAPP and why this is all protected activity. And while I was backstage, I heard you bring up a good point, which is one of the so in his complaint, he was talking a lot about defamation stuff like libel and slander. When you're a public figure, the bar to prove any of those causes of action, you have to show actual malice. And actual malice means you are showing with a knowing disregard for the truth that you are spreading this all around. Now, how do you get around that? It's your good faith belief. And like you were saying before, you didn't make this up. You didn't just say, I'm going to make up all this stuff about Major Williams because I don't like him and I don't trust him. No. As you guys have proven, you have the receipts. You have evidence that people reached out to you and that enough people continue to reach out to you that you start to see a pattern of, wait, this doesn't make sense. I think people should know about this. This is definitely, people are donating money. They're planning on voting for him. They're supporting it. He's running for the highest state office in California. This is definitely something of public issue. So I don't see how they get around that argument or any of those facts to try and beat our anti-SLAPP motion.
Perfect. Phil, thank you so much for clarifying. I wonder if anybody have any questions, make sure you ask the questions now while we have our lawyer on here. But I'm really hoping this serves as an example for two things. One, do not be afraid to criticize candidates. You have a right to criticize candidates. This is our union at stake. You know, these people have to be held accountable. They have to be a person of integrity, so we know who we're voting for. There look like 1,000 people running for governor in California, and how do you know who to trust? And I despise mostly people who are not being honest and genuine. And when people are coming out and accusing you of all kinds of different things, you have no experience, and then you come on camera and say Brandon needs to control his wife. I mean, you're showing yourself to not be a man of integrity, and that's something I can't stand at all, is a man without integrity. And another thing is that if you do get into a jam like this, you need to get you a lawyer, and you can get somebody like Phil who's very well versed, who has experience in cases like this, and he's going to get another win on his belt. So you could get you a lawyer, and you can proceed confidently, knowing that they cannot bully you into not speaking about them, not calling them out for the dirt that you perceive that they're doing in good faith, and also with evidence.
And also the benefit is when you win your anti-SLAPP, the person who brought the complaint is on the hook for attorney's fees. And
Phil, you are very expensive.
Very expensive.
Well, not that expensive, but maybe for Arizona, I'm expensive, but for California,
I hope you charge $1 million. No, just playing.
Yeah, like 20,000 an hour. What? All those billable hours. Oh my. Just kidding, Phil. And didn't you, when we were talking about this, didn't you? Weren't you successful in filing an anti-SLAPP like a few months ago?
Yeah, it was against a politician here
all
in
these
San Diego.
Politicians.
Yeah, but she was a Democrat here, and it's same sort of situation. It's social media, and she didn't like what people were saying about her, so she filed a lawsuit. Actually, she didn't file a lawsuit. She filed a temporary restraining order, which still counts, and then eventually she lost on anti-SLAPP. So it's very broad, and it's very. The public figures need to understand when you enter this arena, and that's why they tell people before you get into politics, know what you're getting into. And this is why you don't see Donald Trump suing everybody for calling him fat or orange or anything like that, or Hillary Clinton saying like she smells like BO or something like that, because it's a high standard to beat. Yeah. So all these politicians can't sue people for critiquing them, even calling them names. That's part of the First Amendment, and that's one of our guaranteed rights. So
all right,
he walked right into this.
Yeah, we got a couple questions here. Okay. Thank you for the super chat. It says, Phil, are you a labor attorney as well?
No, but last week I had my good buddy Ryan Carlson on. He's an employment attorney. So if you're asking like employment questions, he's here in San Diego. Go check him out.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's as you go through other super chats, that to me is the funniest part of this lawsuit, is that Major Williams claims to be he's running on the Republican ticket. He claims to be a conservative, but he is sounding so much like, I don't know, a communist, in that you oppose me, you women dare speak out against me, you dare, talk about my poor behavior. And in the lawsuit, it says, I want to punish them for their bad behavior. So to me, it's like, how more unconstitutional can you be? You can't claim that you are a constitutionalist and you're a conservative and then sue people. A couple of women, like all of us are stay-at-home moms, suing us because we disagree with you and we're exposing your bad behavior. Like,
well, I think the funniest thing is we've noticed his attitude has been one of like, you guys started it, which I find amazing, that the narrative has been flipped to, well, they started it, and this is just all this law stuff is they started it. And in reality, it's like, no, we're responding and we're defending, I'm defending you guys from this complaint. So when anybody thinks that you guys started this lawsuit, you guys didn't. You're just defending yourself.
Yeah, in his comments, he's telling people that, like, he's calling us bullies. But yeah, he's making it seem in his comments now, because a lot of people are asking on his social media, what's this lawsuit about? You're suing women. And he's making it seem like, no, they're suing me. Like, it's because our anti-SLAPP, it makes it seem like we filed an anti-SLAPP against him. It's like, no, he sued us for exercising our First Amendment. And so this is an anti-SLAPP is us responding to his lawsuit, trying to silence us and take away our freedom of speech.
Yeah, Phil, after the trial is over and there's a decision made, will all of this paperwork, testimony, court documents be available through, a Freedom of Request Act or whatever the case may be? Would they be available for people to see, so they can see his testimony, his response? They can see all of the evidence in this case?
Yeah, as anything that's filed with the court, with some exceptions like juvenile cases or maybe domestic abuse, everything is public record. So once something is filed in court, you can go back to that court, look up the case number, look up the names, and you can find those court documents and you can pull them yourself and look at them. So everything will be public knowledge that is filed in this case.
Perfect. Because I want people to see how this is articulated. And I know that he may seem like an irrelevant individual because in the grand scheme of things, he's a quite irrelevant candidate. However, we got to make a statement. You can't let people bully you because you're exposing things that they're doing inappropriately. So don't let them bully you, man. You fight, you stand up. And I'll tell you what, if you're going to try to sue somebody, you probably shouldn't try to sue Corinne. You probably shouldn't try to sue women who are stay-at-home moms who got a bunch of time on their hands to expose you. So, I mean, it may not be a good opportunity for you to do that. And I want to make this very abundantly clear. Nobody cares enough about Major Williams to try to assassinate his character on some false pretenses.
Correct.
He created an environment for people to question his behavior. Therefore, he drew attention to himself and made people wonder and question his spending and his motives. And then he says something deranged about me not controlling my wife. And then other women just started coming out against him. That has nothing to do with us. That has everything to do with the presentation of a bad character person.
And it's not like we just didn't like him. So we were like, oh, let's find something and let's dig in his spending report. No, this is, if you followed me at all in 2020, I did this quite often with people running for Congress, people who were already Congress members, going through FEC reports. I learned about that last year. So I was doing that a lot during quarantine shutdown last year, going through FEC reports. So the only reason why we did it with Major is because he was pretty popular a few months ago in California in conservative circles. I saw a lot of my friends posting about him. What?
You say he's popular. I'm just criticizing.
Oh, well, and he was in some like Southern California circles. I had at least a few dozen people message me and say, do you support Major Williams? What about Major Williams? And I didn't say anything about him publicly until I had something I could share, which was his spending report, to say, no, this is why I wouldn't support him. But it wasn't like we were picking on him. We went through a lot of candidate spending reports. Phil, his social media handle is at California Underground. And you do something, is it weekly or bi-weekly? Coffee and Politics every Wednesday morning?
Every week, 9 a.m. on Instagram Live.
So
which day? Wednesday mornings, right? Or
Wednesday mornings, yep.
Yeah, every Wednesday morning, Phil does something called Coffee and Politics at 9 a.m. California time. And he talks a lot about candidates as well. He'll go through spending reports. He'll interview candidates. So it's not like anybody was singling Major Williams out. Major Williams was one of many candidates whose spending reports I went through and talked about, who other people did. Phil, you want to tell us a little bit more about your Coffee and Politics? Well, you have an audience?
Yeah. So my Instagram handles California Underground. I talk a lot about California politics. Every Wednesday at 9 a.m., I do this thing called California Politics, where I sit, we have coffee. It's sort of an interactive, people comment, they want to talk about different topics. And it's just sort of a nice live where people can check in and we can discuss. And I mean, we talk about all sorts of California. Sometimes it's national, sometimes it's mostly California. But also we do the podcast live on YouTube every Thursday, 8 o'clock. So that's the politics side of it all.
Yeah. So Phil is very well versed in California politics. You're also involved in the GOP, aren't you, in San Diego?
Yeah. I'm involved in the San Diego GOP, the Republican Party down here.
So here you go. This is page, right? I'm on it.
Yeah, that's Phil.
All right, this is Phil. Y'all go check this page out. Check it out. Great information. Very informative.
Yep.
Because of his expertise and consistency and knowledge. This is why we chose him. We like, look, man, we want a lawyer that's gonna make it happen. Because this is a big case for us, especially the first time we've gotten sued by somebody. And so we want to win, and we want a person who's a winner. But I also feel is very knowledgeable, and that gives you confidence that, okay, he knows what he's talking about. It's not some random dude that's claiming he's a lawyer just to get views and subscribers or something like that. I mean, this guy legitimately has done an incredible job for us thus far. Very confident that we're going to win. Very realistic about the expectations. So y'all go on and follow Underground Railroad. I say Underground Railroad, California Underground. It's maybe the Underground Railroad of politics, but y'all go check that out. Phil, you got anything you want to add?
No, that's it. I'm looking forward to November 8th. So I'm looking forward to see how they respond to our motion. But, you know, that's just the attorney nerd in me. So
I have a question. Is there a time frame in which they have to respond, or can they respond anytime between now and November 8th?
So they have to respond within a certain days before the hearing.
Okay.
And then we have to reply within a certain amount of time before the hearing. So we might not see something from them for a while. So in terms of what's going to happen over the next month or so, it could be pretty quiet. But you know, once we get to like October, it's going to start getting interesting. We're going to start seeing more filing, see what they're saying, and then we get to reply, and then we get to strategize on how we're going to go about the hearing. But again, this is a case where it's just, I think we laid out everything so much in the first motion. I even said to you one day, I could have just piled on more and more case law because it was just so much case law proving our point that I was like, I also don't want to bore the judge to death. And he'd be like, yeah, I get it at this point. But it was just so much at a certain point that it was on our side that agreed with us. I was like, okay, I feel really good about this. I'm confident that we're going to be able to get this case knocked out of court pretty quickly.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Phil, man. I really appreciate you, man. If y'all looking for a lawyer and you got some availability, this may be y'all's opportunity to see that he can make it happen, man. I mean, go ahead. What do you
so
say?
what kind of law does your law firm specialize in? What do you guys specialize in? I know it's anti-SLAPPs, at least. First Amendment.
Well, constitutional stuff, civil rights. We also do estate planning and a little criminal defense as well. So it's all about protecting your rights, protecting your private property, protecting your constitutional rights. That's what I sort of like to specialize in when it comes to my firm. So
perfect. Where can people, if people are inquiring and they need, you know, legal advice, representation, or whatever, what's the best place for them to get in touch with you at?
So the name of the firm is Arete Law, and it's ARETE.law is the web address, not .com. So it's RAETE.law. You can go there and check out everything.
And also on arate.law, I was saying it incorrectly, forgive me, is the whole, on their blog, is the whole lawsuit filed by Major. It lists his damages of the tummy ache and the headaches, our response in the anti-SLAPP, and then all of our sworn affidavit, or all of our sworn statements. So see it all for yourself. You can read all of the tea, all of it. Read it all for yourself. Answer all your questions. I believe the exhibits and the photos we added, which is only a fraction of the photo proof we have.
Yeah, we may make it convenient for you guys and try to, you know, pass on a link from Tatum Report.
Okay.
And if you end up reading the Tatum Report article, we'll pass the link on so you can just get it from there as well. But you can go right to the website and get the information. You want to be represented here, put your information in. If you want to see what's going on, go to the blog. Here's the article right here. You just click on it right there and it'll pull it up and you guys can read to your heart's content. But I think that's about it. I mean, we don't want to, you know, keep you on. I know you got a lot of stuff to do, but we definitely appreciate you, Phil, man. I mean, you've been a lifesaver. You know, we had options to pick a lot of different people, you know, but we wanted to pick you because we felt like you were going to give us the best chance to win with confidence and being reasonable and giving us a realistic expectation. So we really appreciate you, man.
Well, I appreciate you guys have that much faith in me, and I look forward to our victory and November 8th. Hopefully we have a good place to go in Orange County afterwards.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna go to the Lido house and party.
Yeah, with the Lido house celebration dinner.
Yeah. All right, man. Thank you for coming on, man. We'll talk.
All right, thank you guys for having me on.
All right, Phil. Thank you.
All right. So I just want to add something real quick, just about this whole, you know, politics in general, and the encouragement for people to make sure that you vet these people, vet them. You know, this guy is one example. He's one example of many of these people who have questionable character, who have questionable spending, you know, who are questionable individuals. You know, don't just think that Republicans are I mean, don't think that Democrats are clowns and people who are untrustworthy. There are Republicans too that are literally in it for the money, in my opinion, based on what I see, based on my own interpretation, based on behavior. There's candidates in for the money, man. This is a money-making industry. If y'all haven't gotten it at this point, you need to think twice about it. It's a money-making industry.
There is a lot of money to be made in a losing race.
Yeah, I mean, think about this. For instance, people ask me to run for office all the time, and it's not in. I don't have it in me to run for office at this point. I don't really have a passion to do that. It's not something that I really want to do. It's not something that I really want to focus on. If I was running, it'll be for somebody else's, because somebody else asked me to, and that's not the way you should do it. You should do it when you have that desire in your heart to do what you believe God has called you to do. I don't believe I was called to do it. However, I'm being honest with y'all. If I decided to run for office today, I could run for just about anything. I could raise a lot of money. A lot of people would support me because a lot of people believe that I can do the job. However, I don't really want to do it. So if I were to somehow run and I did not want to do it, and if I ever get to the point where I want to run for office, you guys will know explicitly. I will do it and do it at the best of my ability. But right now, wife said no. And so I could collect a lot of money. I can get a lot of donations. I can pay to advertise my stuff. I can get endorsements from a lot of people and raise a couple $1 million. But that's not what it's about. I'd rather support candidates who want to be in that position versus doing it because you have to. You got to do it because it's what's right and God has called you to do it. But, we need to keep an eye on this stuff, man. Don't let the Republicans fool you, sweetheart.
Yeah, I
Everything
agree.
you want to add?
I agree. No, I think maybe closer to the primary, I can come on and do a video and pull up on the computer how to look through someone's FEC reports, how to spot red flags, how to know what's normal, what's not normal, things that should stand out to you. But that's, we should vet our candidates. I'm almost 40 years old. I didn't know how to check FEC reports. And now that you do, and you see how, one, who's donating to candidates, and two, how candidates are spending their campaign money, it's an eye opener. And we all need to know how to do that if we're voting.
And this is my wife's page. She had to get a 2.0 page because I honestly believe that Mr. McSnitchy that tried to sue us probably had something to do with getting their first page shut down when she had over 100,000 subscribers. So if you guys are interested, my wife is off the chain. She don't come on much. She busy dealing with the baby and everything. Look at this thing still on the screen. It makes me so mad. She's dealing with the baby and things like that. So she don't have a lot of time to be on here running her mouth like I do. But when she do, she have a lot to say. And this is her page. She exposing people like it's going out of style. She got these little, she had one with, what's his name? The little dude.
Joe Collins.
She had Joe Collins on here. She had all kind of people on her other page. But yeah, man, if you guys are interested in seeing what my wife posts, she posts a lot of cool stuff too. She posts a lot about the baby. So if you guys are interested in that, go on and follow her. Corinne Tatum 2.0.
Yeah, I just don't think it's right when these people with shady, questionable pasts all of a sudden become Republicans and conservatives, because I feel like last year was like the year of the Black conservative. Yeah. And, Republicans are so thirsty for Black candidates. So we can be like, see, we're not racist. And we're like, let me, throw money at you and we support you. See, we're not racist. We're supporting this Black candidate. And so I think a lot of people last year were really grifting is the term. They know they're not going to win. They're running in a deep blue seat. And they get a lot of donations. They funnel a lot of those donations to consultants. And then when you follow the train of looking at the consultant, the consultant shares an address with their campaign office, or the consultant has been a registered business for a few weeks, and the location or the address is like a crappy 1-bedroom apartment. Like, these are red flags, but it's a way that people enrich themselves through campaign donations off of your hard-earned dollars. And just like it makes me sick when the government wastes our hard-earned tax money, it makes me sick when these candidates do it as well. They're trying to fool good-hearted you know, patriots who are desperate for change, especially in California. And it enrages me, and it should upset you as well.
And you know, y'all like the tea, so everybody like the drama, but here's my wife just exposing all of this stuff. You know, this is one of his accounts.
Oh yeah, talking trash
where's your
about Charlie
retweet of
Kirk.
Trump calling white supremacists good folks? I mean, he was all on the leftist train.
Yeah, just a few years ago, anti-Trump, supporting, what was that, Colin Kaepernick, saying that not everyone's built to carry a firearm. And just a few years later, with no relevant coming out story, no red pill moment, all of a sudden silently, oh yeah, I'm totally pro 2A, pro Farrakhan. Like it's just sickening. And we went through, one of the other women he's suing. Stop it.
This dude's so trash, man. I just
one of the other women he's suing, I mean, she does better work than the FBI. She found his Tumblr account. She found multiple Twitter accounts of his going back 10 years, and he has no known.
it's not on the screen.
Oh, he has no known like business experience. All his businesses that he would post about were like, "Hey, send me $5 and help me make history."
It's always making history.
Send me $1, help us buy a sign for our business and help us make history. We'll put your name on the wall. Like, I think in one post he'll say, you know, I didn't go to college. I have business experience, or I learned from the streets, or I just have life experience. And then in another post he'll be like, oh, I went to this college and that college. In one post he'll say, I'm just a regular guy. I'm relatable because I'm not a millionaire. And when we called him out for his lavish spending, he was like, that's just the way I live my life. You know, to me, staying at the Ritz is just a regular Tuesday. It's like $600 a pop. Like I think he spent $5,000 at the Ritz on multiple rooms. But it's bananas.
It's bananas. You guys heard us talk about it. I think we want to get into something more interesting.
Okay.
My wife and I was going to start a relationship channel. And I think you guys are going to love it, because I feel like you don't hear the conversations that we have on a day-to-day basis about relationships. True. About, you know, should you get married before you have children? What is marriage life like? What is the single life like? You know, we used to talk before we got married, and before we really was confident about being together, we were just friends, and we should talk about relationships all the time.
You liked me though.
I liked you a little bit. At first I did. At first I was like,
me.
I ain't dating no girl in the club. So I thought she was a clubby girl at first. And then I was like, man, ain't no way in the world a girl looked that good from California and is a conservative. I thought she was a complete troll. So, you know, over time, you know, we discussed a lot of these things about relationships, and we disagreed on a lot of those things. Like, one of the things that we still argue about today is coffee a valid first date? And my wife says it's not a date at all. Now, of course, I think that coffee, if depending on where you live, who you are, what your interests are, coffee can be a first date. My wife says no, under no circumstance.
A coffee is a screening. It's not a first date. It's a screening. Perhaps a job interview.
She won't let it go.
But it's not a first date.
She won't let it go. I like coffee date is cute. See, you're gonna get ratioed on my channel. So no,
I stand by my statement. I will die on this hill. Coffee is not a date. It could be a second or a third date, but it is a screening. Coffee is do I want to take this woman to date? A coffee is, do I want to waste my time and go on a date with this guy? Coffee is a screening. It's not a legit bona fide date. It's not a date.
In today's world, men, you need to do a little screening first before you break your pocket on somebody.
That's what like you stalk their social media. That's what you screen them that way.
Because it wouldn't be faking their social media though. They get on there and they put all these fake pictures and booty shots on there and all this stuff. Well, I would say if you're a good man, don't wait. The girl got a booty hanging out. You don't want to be on her social media in the first place.
I had some bathing suit photos.
Baby,
I was a single gal in California.
You had
living it up.
You had professional photography. It wasn't you at the gym doing butt shots and doing the camera like this and all this. You weren't doing all that. Anyway, me and the wife are gonna make a blog and we're gonna talk about all of these issues. I think we have incredible responses.
Adriadna said, seriously, your wife is right. See, women, y'all know what I'm talking about. Coffee is a screening. It's not a dedicated amount of time, not a date. Oh my God, new business idea, dating screening.
Hey, look. One of my best dates that I ever went on, outside of with my beautiful wife right here, is I went hiking. I mean, people could argue that it's probably dangerous for a woman to go hiking with a guy that they don't know, but I went hiking. It was incredible because
don't go hiking. Don't go hiking with a stranger unless you are carrying a gun, ladies.
Or you're in a populated hike, where there's people all around or whatever. But I went on a hike and it was cool. You were able to talk, exercise. This person is into fitness. I'm into fitness. It wasn't so I'm trying to impress you. It was like people can be themselves. And so she was being herself. I was being myself. It was no pressure. But there's difference. There's a difference. I'm not gonna lie. Like ever since I got married, I kind of like bossed up a little bit, and I could see it from her perspective just a little bit more. But
I made a man out of you.
Yeah, whatever,
now coffee's not a date.
Whatever. I'll take you to coffee. Take you to Starbucks. All right, so we're gonna do a channel like that. I'm pretty sure you guys appreciate it. We're gonna start it soon. We could we'll do a different background or whatever, and we'll have our own channel and talk about these things, because there's a lot of fraudulent gurus out here, and I'm not really trying to. They probably got their thing on right now. I was gonna watch it. The dudes, the fresh and fit dudes that were on there.
Brandon is heavily invested in this fresh and fit tea. He is heavily invested. We discuss this often.
What I learned, a lot of things I learned as a man, as a content creator, what not to do and how to remain humble, because these dudes, were getting popular. I mean, they had 400,000 subscribers on the channel. They weren't in the millions, so it wasn't like they were like at the pinnacle. But I mean, these guys are gaining traction. They got incredibly arrogant and they're disrespectful to women. And they get on and they put on that there's somebody that they're not, and saying they're a high value man. And this is how high value men move. And they, leveraging their social media to get women. And it's like, it was incredibly disappointing. And one of the guys got so much baggage, baby. I don't know if you saw last night, one of their dudes that used to be kicked in the door and was going to fight while they were live. The girl started running and stuff. So they got a lot of
live on their
podcast.
Who was going to kick in the door?
It was a dude that was previously one of their friends that like walked away from the thing. And they say he kicked in the door. You can hear him back there ready to fight. So it was crazy. The girl started running and it was crazy. Somebody said, thank you for the super chat. Maggie said, coffee is a date. It's just not a big date.
When I was single.
That's why you were single until you met me.
When I was single in my 30s, if a man, this is what started it. I was single in my 30s. Brandon, we were friends. He was following me. A man who I think was probably closer to his 50s. Or I was in my mid 30s. I always dated older men. Brandon's a few years younger than me. It's why I wouldn't date him. And look at us now. But a man messaged me on Instagram, and he was like, "Hey, I'd like to take you to coffee." And I was like, I was low-key offended. Like, coffee? I'm a grown-up. Like, I'm not 21. Like, bro, you're in your 50s. You must have enough money to be like, "Hey, you want to go get an appetizer and a glass of wine?" And so I was just a little like, I don't know if coffee is not a date. So I was like,
she don't tell you.
So I posed the question on my social media. I said, is coffee a date? The man saw and he was heavily offended, but I wasn't going to go on a date with a 50-year-old man who wanted to take me to coffee. Coffee to me means I'm not serious. I don't know. To me, coffee's not a date.
He pulled up in a Ferrari. She got right on that date. Oh, you went on a date with that dude?
We didn't really want to date. We went to church. We went to church.
She went to coffee
but
first.
I wouldn't think that was a date.
Because he had a Ferrari. That's why. See, I told you.
Because he didn't drink, so we couldn't go to wine. And coffee is an icebreaker. Let's see. Someone said, Brandon, you need prayer. Anyway, so that was like a big running joke on when I was single. It was coffee a date. Coffee's not a date. Brandon was adamant coffee is a date. That's why Brandon was also single. I said coffee's not a date. I was single. And then Brandon made me cry because he said, you're too old to be single. True.
I said, you're going to die alone.
True story.
So you're going to die alone.
True story. We were good friends. So we used to talk about all this stuff, dating and all kinds of stuff. And Brandon said, aren't you a little up there in age to still be living it up, being single? And I said, said, this man is
she tried to say she was living her best life.
I was living it up in LA. I was having so much fun.
She wanted to marry me. That's she the whole time.
I was having so much fun.
That is interesting. I think coffee, it just depends on who you are and who you're dealing with. Like I think it can be a pre-date if you want it to be that way, or if you're in a big city and it's business and it's a really cool coffee spot that's very popular, got great food. You can take somebody to coffee, drink a little something.
That is true. There are cute coffee spots, so that is an exception. There are cute coffee spots that you can go to and get a snack, but like Starbucks, I don't think Starbucks is a date unless you work near someone, you live in a big city, and you're like, hey, do you want to meet me for coffee on your break? That could be. I still think it's a screening though. I don't think it's a date.
Thank you, Sid, bro. I appreciate the super chat. Thank y'all for super chatting. That's awesome. I appreciate you guys. Sometimes we miss some of the super chats because we're having that conversation with our lawyer.
No. Yeah, I stand firm. Coffee is a screening.
All right. So that you can see the preview on some of the things that we're going to talk about. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. And I think it's good to hear from a perspective because I think my wife got a lot to add. She's very opinionated and she has some valid points. I learned a lot from my wife, especially as a man, how to dress, to a certain degree, what kind of luggage to buy as a professional man and not trying to be a gangster thug, Lil Wayne, or somebody with Gucci bags and stuff like that.
Looking out for you.
So, it's a lot of stuff like that. And, being married is an incredible thing too. We'll talk about a lot of those things. So our show is going to come soon. We'll share it with you guys so you can go on and subscribe. Somebody said, unless we're going to drinking.
I think it's Dunkin'.
Today. What is?
Unless we're going to Dunkin', like Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh, Dunkin'. I thought I said drinking. Dunkin' coffee is Dunkin' Donuts. That's funny. You can get a cool little spot. I mean, I'm out of the dating realm, but I could tell a young man like what a woman probably would like, based on being married and what you should avoid.
Someone said, you mean she's whitewashed? I bet she doesn't let you wear Jordans. Brandon doesn't own Jordans.
I mean, I just don't like Jordans.
I had a pair of Jordans and I gave them to my stepson.
Yeah, but I don't. Jordans ain't Jordans have never been my style anyway. So I'm not really a Jordan type of dude. I think they're the way I dress, collar shirt, nice jeans. I don't really mix that with Jordans. I do have some Nike shoes that's really nice, but I don't even mix this outfit, most of the outfits that I wear with those shoes. I like boots. I rather boots and brown shoes, which every shoe I own is brown. That's like dress shoes, but flat. I like flat shoes. I don't really like bubbly basketball, chunky shoes. I just don't like them. And a lot of the Jordans don't look good. People just buy them because they Jordans. And this is not my style. But my wife did.
You want to be.
My wife did give me some advice on luggage though, which was pretty interesting because I wanted to get what luggage bag is that?
This is the only thing. This is the only thing I'm afraid of is that when I give my raw, unfiltered opinion, I don't really want to offend people.
Who cares?
I know.
You're gonna have people that love what you say. You're gonna have people that absolutely despise you.
So I know that's true. And then there's different between me talking about politics and offending people and giving my opinion on like fashion and stuff. I don't want to offend people.
You didn't care about my feelings when you told me.
No. You didn't care about mine either when you made me cry.
I didn't make you cry.
Yeah, Mike. So we were just friends, and Brandon sent me a picture of a Michael Kors print backpack as a gentleman and said, "Is this backpack cool? Should I get this backpack for travel?" And I said, "Absolutely not. Walk away. Don't you dare get that Michael Kors backpack. You are a man. Absolutely not. No way." And I told him to get a Tumi because it's professional. It'll last you a lifetime. It's elegant. People think you're about your business. And so he got a Tumi. And how do you feel about that? Did I steer you wrong?
No, you did me right, because once I started traveling a lot, once I started being around people, successful men that I aspired to be like, every one of them had a Tumi bag. Every one of them had Tumi. And it's expensive, but it's way durable than any other brand bags that you can get, in my opinion. And Tumi is not paying me to say this. Like, so I went and got a Tumi bag, and then I bought the travel, the little carry-on.
They're expensive, but they last a lifetime. I think they have a lifetime warranty.
They do have a lifetime warranty.
I'm a bargain shopper. If any of you follow me, someone said, does she have Instagram? I do. It's Corinne Tatum 2.0, CORINNE Tatum 2.0. Oh, it's right there. I got my Tumi on Goodwill, shopgoodwill.com. I don't like paying retail for things, it hurts me. So I like to buy things used, the Goodwill. I'm a big thrift store shopper. So I got my Tumi at shopgoodwill.com. It was brand new with tags, and it was like a 10th of the price.
Look, somebody said, look at this say. They disagree. Look at this person.
Okay.
I like the look, hater. They disagree too often in less than 10 minutes, not ready to give relationship advice. These people are nutty. I don't mean to be.
This is
If you and your wife, let me give y'all an example. It's not a major disagreement, but we can disagree on certain things. If you agree with everything that your wife, let me just say this. It's a fake relationship if you getting on trying to give relationship advice and be like, yeah, wife, we agree with everything. Well, we agree on all the major stuff that people should worry about when you're married to somebody. But whether we agree or disagree with somebody, coffee being a date, come on, man.
I mean, I married him anyway.
But people are going to disagree, and it's not like we knock down, drag out, fight. It's that we disagree, and we respectfully disagree. If somebody's on doing a relationship channel and they agree on every single thing that come out of their mouth, nobody's going to watch them.
That's weird.
Nobody cares. You're being fake. You're trying to act like you agree with everything. It's interesting to hear that me and my wife do think about things differently. However, we come to a common conclusion about the things that matter the most, about our faith, about raising children, all those different things that matter the most. But we do disagree on some things.
My mom commented, disagreeing is okay. Here? Yeah, it went up real quick. She said, disagreeing is okay, but name calling and right there, put downs and right cutting on each other are not okay. Yeah. So yeah, that's my mom when she was a little girl. Disagreeing is okay. Put downs and cutting on each other are not. And that's true. We disagree and we joke around a lot, but we don't ever name call or
we're like friends,
no,
man. Me and my wife are like friends too. You know, we married, but we're like friends. We joke with each other. We criticize each other. I think some of the stuff she says is crazy. She thinks some of the stuff I say is crazy. But at the end of the day, you know, we're gonna have our different viewpoints. I mean, that's just the way it is. Because she's a woman, I'm a man, you know, men think about things differently.
Me being older, sometimes it takes him a little bit to realize she was
know, she wanted,
she was right.
She told me the reason we had got mad I got mad at her one time.
I was offended. I don't want to give away everything on this.
I got my feelings hurt on this situation. I ain't gonna give it away, but I got my feelings hurt.
Told you.
She said pretty much she wanted to date guys that are much older than me. And like, because now I see that like, a lot of dudes my age are immature and they don't have their stuff together and they're not even trying to pursue a relationship. But for me, I'm like, well, I'm different. And I was sad. I would kind of hurt my feelings because I really liked her and she pretty much ghosted me at first. Not ghost me, but she was like, bro, you too young.
Like, oh, you too young.
You too young. And in my mind, I said, girl, watch. And look at her. Now we married.
He blocked me. He blocked my. He was so in his feelings. He was so in his feelings.
I was in my feelings.
He blocked me.
I was in my feelings.
Blocked my social media. Blocked
I
my.
you on social media?
Telephone. Yes, you blocked me on everything. Oh yes.
I was in my feelings.
Oh yes.
I ain't gonna lie.
He's emotional.
Because I was like, let me explain myself. I was like, man, I'm not gonna waste my time with this girl because she only, you know, she told me she want an older dude. Man, screw that. I'm never gonna talk to her again because I don't want to talk to her. I was mad, but she called
all these dudes emotional.
But she called me 100 times, and then
I called her from my work phone, and I said, "Did you block me?" And he was like, "Well, yeah." And I said, "Fool, unblock me. Get out of your feelings."
I'm glad she was sane because if she wasn't the same
I'm
one,
not the emotional one. I don't get in my feelings and get upset. He's the emotional one. As you guys know, because you follow him, he's the emotional one.
It's not emotion. It's passion.
I keep my cool.
It's passion. I have passion. Okay, I have passion in dating life. But it was funny though. It's funny how, you know, if it wasn't for her being a little more calm, cool, and collected, like I was like, I'm never gonna talk to her again, ever. She don't want to date me because I'm too young. I'm too young. I was like, screw this girl. But then
she's a little young and.
But then she kind of when she was being kind to me, like she didn't none of that phase. And she said, you know what, unblock me. And I was like, just her patience and stuff kind of drew me back in.
And I'm still being patient.
Maybe I was a little emotional on that one. Okay, I'm not gonna completely block her out. But you know, we got married, and I love her to death, man. We're like really good friends. Like people, and I don't believe in that. I married my best friend.
I always say that. Am I your best friend? And he says no.
You're my best wife. Okay. I don't like when people say I married my best friend. It's like, no, it's very different between you and my homeboy BJ. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like me and BJ don't have children. Like, you know, there's things that's different between a friend, a best friend, and somebody that is your life partner.
Yeah, so people want to know the age difference. I'm 38. I just turned 38 a few weeks ago, and he's 34.
34, she's 40. And
I'm not 40 yet. I am 38.
She's 38. But I'm more mature for my age, though, to be honest.
Most of the time, yes.
Look at Taylor said, "Will you adopt me? Come on out here, Tayllah. Come stay with us."
I know.
Again.
I thought we did adopt you.
No, you walked away from my adoption. Okay, you were adopted for the 2 weeks. Let's see. Somebody said, "My husband is 8 years younger, and it's the easiest relationship I've ever had. I always say, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, so I got a puppy." I mean, there's some truth. There's some truth in that. I mean, a lot, man. Like I'm gonna be honest about men. Like sometimes men are just not, especially when they get older and they're stuck in their ways. Like some men just don't get it, and they don't understand how to be flexible. They don't understand how to, you know, meet women and be a type of dude that a woman wants. You know, some men they rather play video games than to work on themselves. And I'm not trying to criticize any man. You got your stuff together. You making good money and you got a good retirement and stuff like that. You can play video games, and your wife is happy. You know, your kids are taken care of. You can do whatever you want. But some men just not mature enough to understand these things and put it in perspective.
Someone said 34 and 38 is the same age. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, relatively speaking. I mean, we're not that far apart. 38 looks 28.
Oh, hello. Thank you.
She was talking about me, but nah. So let's see. Here's $10. Buy some Skechers with memory foam. Oh, I'm gonna put that on thing. Buy some Skechers with memory foam and don't support Nike child slavery. You'll thank me and be comfortable.
Yeah, I won't buy Nikes anymore. Sometimes it makes me sad because they have cute shoes, but
yeah, I mean, I got some Nikes in there. When I played college football, the shoes that they gave us with Nike. I bought some Nikes. Nike. I bought Nike clothes to work out in, and I really, you know, a part of me don't want to support them ever again. You know, they do child slavery and all of this stuff.
Someone said that's okay because Brandon looks much older anyway.
Where? Who said that?
Right over there.
Who for the block?
It says it right there.
I'm about to block.
It doesn't. I'm
about to block.
Just kidding.
Let's see.
Oh, right there. She really looks. See, I wasn't lying.
Said, bro, you trying to get points, man. That's my dude. Said, bro, man. I appreciate you, man. They had some good comments. We need to start a Tatum dating app. Oh, that's Scott. Look at Scott. We do. We'll get you set up. First month free.
Love y'all. B red pilled me about 3 years ago, and I haven't looked back, which led me to Candace and others. Love seeing wifey on here with you. Corinne killed it when you were out. Man, bro, keep pushing. You definitely helped me.
Appreciate it, brother. Much love to you, man. I think our show gonna be fire, man. And even if I don't care what it does, to be honest, like I think this is something that I want to do, and then my wife, we would love to do this for fun. Like,
because I think about how he used to operate when he was single, and I used to try to tell him from a woman's perspective, and then I know how I used to operate when I was a single girl, and now that I'm married, and then hearing things from a man's perspective, I just want women, I should say. It's like women need direction. I feel like, in a positive word, and I feel like men need direction. And then hearing about a lot of these dating gurus, I'm like, what are they telling people? I'm not saying that I'm a guru or a guru, but I think people just want to hear some real info from men and women. And if you want to be married, you want to hear it from a married couple. You know, you don't want to hear somebody tell you how to climb a mountain if they've never climbed a mountain. So yeah, we always talk about relationships and dating and, you know, our single and stuff like that. So we thought, let's come talk about it. Right.
I think it's invaluable to hear, especially from a married man. These people are, I'm a guru, but they don't have a wife. So it's like, well, your guru-ness hasn't gotten I'm not saying you can't be a guru and be, you know, whatever, but it's just you would rather hear from a man's perspective that's married if that's what your goal is.
You can be a guru on how to be a single man.
Yeah, if you want to be a player, somebody's a guru and they're a player, and let them do that, and that's who you listen to. But if your ultimate goal is to get married, you probably want to listen to people who are married. And I know we haven't been married for 45 years or nothing like that, but at least we are married, and we got a lot to share, and we don't have a perfect family. You know what I'm saying? It's not perfect. You know, I came into it with a kid with another person, came into the situation with a kid with another person. So we got that whole thing to deal with. We have a baby now, and, you know, stepchildren and blended family and stuff like that is something that is a real thing to deal with. It has its ups and it has its downs. And a lot of people in this country are dealing with a similar thing. And so it would be encouraging to hear just another perspective. You know, when I go online, I like to hear, am I the only person that think like this? Am I the only person that's going through this? And I think when I hear from people that I trust, it really helps, especially two people that are conservative. You know, a lot of liberals do stuff like this. It's rare that like conservatives do social stuff. It's always either politics or whatever. So, but anyway, is that it, baby? Somebody said more kids. I'm not gonna lie. We want more. We would like to have more kids, but Bo was difficult. You know what I mean? The pregnancy and all that, it was kind of difficult. So it makes me not want any more kids. I got, you know, my 11-year-old and we got a 6-month-old. So that gap. But then a part of me is like, man, I wish I had like 2 or 3 of them that were right around the same age. So we'll see, man. We leave it up to God. Somebody said, your first baby mama black, ?
No.
I almost said something real bad, but I'm not gonna say it. No, she's not. Okay.
No, she was the first white girl Brandon dated, and
the first white woman I've ever dated in my life was my child's mom.
What?
Okay. Let's see. What are the questions? What a question. Yeah, but people probably think you don't date white women. It's like, no, I'd never even looked at a white woman until I got to college. And I was like 21 when I first dated a white woman in college. I only dated black girls because I grew up like that. You know, I grew up believing that you can't date white women. And then I think I was
you
like,
dated black girls after you.
I dated
black girls after you.
I dated
her.
Plenty of black girls after, you know, after I had a child and I was single again. I dated plenty of black girls. I don't discriminate against people I dated. I dated people that I liked. And if I like you, you cool, I would give you opportunity. I never in my life was like, I want a white woman. I want to date a white woman. It's like, no, I'm attracted to a woman that has a great personality. He was
attracted to all the women.
I wanted to say that, but that would have came out wrong. But you know, I was attracted to women who I'm attracted to. You know, that's what it is. And then obviously Corinne was the greatest woman on planet Earth for me. And so that's why we got married. Does she get on my nerves sometimes? Yes. And I know for a fact I get on her nerves. I see myself getting on her nerves. And I apologize. I say, baby, you know, I'm sorry about the other day. You know, I'm like, I feel bad. I'm like, I was probably getting on her nerves. Maybe I was a little short yesterday. But that's what love is. Where you're a man enough to say, okay, babe, I was wrong. Even when she wrong, I apologize. She don't apologize.
I'm rarely ever wrong.
Yeah, you think she'd be wrong like I'm. I'd be like,
no, because you are passionate and emotional, and you will speak before you think. And I am cool and calm and collected, and so therefore I rarely am wrong. It rarely happens.
She's funny, but as a man, you know, you're like, no matter if you think your wife is wrong or not, you think she was mean and said something that was off-putting or whatever. As a man, you apologize for your involvement, and then you let it go. You know,
and then you leave me alone. Then you walk away, leave me alone, and let me
watch your shows.
Let me go pick up my face in the bathroom uninterrupted for an hour
and watch freaking Real Housewives of Scottsdale. That's funny. But let's see. Corinne here too. I'm rarely wrong in my marriage. They're never wrong, guys. They're never wrong. Anyway, I love you guys. Appreciate you coming on. Thank y'all for the super chats, man. I appreciate it.
Was B a social butterfly like me? That's how my wife and I met. No, this kid, he was so shy. We used to be like, we would be friends, and I would tell him, go out, you know, meet girl. He wouldn't. I don't want to say hit on women, but he wouldn't approach women. He wouldn't talk to women. He was a homebody.
Man, I have to say, I'm glad I was like that,
Well, me
because it helped me in the long run not be too involved with too many women and
True.
all this other stuff. But like, I just didn't. I mean, I don't know what it was. I was very shy. People think I'm like a very outgoing person. I am, like, when I'm in certain venues, but like in my personal life, I would never go up to women and talk to them. I just was too shy. It wasn't that I didn't like to do it. I was just too shy. I would just get so intimidated and be like, I don't want to say nothing. I'm not gonna say nothing. I didn't want to get rejected, which was weird because most women probably wouldn't reject me, but I just was too shy. You know,
He's very humble.
I'm just being honest.
Humble.
I'm being honest. Like, I'm a good looking guy. I'm tall, handsome, you know, whatever. But I just was too shy, man. I didn't like going out. The club scene was my thing. Like, I just never liked it. Even to this day, like I don't like dancing and stuff. And, you know, I go line dance with my wife when she take me one day, but I just never was into that, man. And I, like, my wife used to be like, go out on dates and stuff. And I'm like, I just wasn't interested, man. I'd rather stay at home with Phineas.
He was like an incel.
Oh, we go fight on this camera. But you know, I'd rather stay at home with Phineas, ride my bike, do YouTube videos, and just like relax, man. That's what my thing was. I wasn't really trying to be in people's face all day. Even now, I'm very shy.
I was the opposite. I like to go out and have fun. I was out in LA multiple nights a week. I want to meet people. I want to have fun. It was fun. We were opposites.
So you telling me B wasn't at
Mill or Old Town Scottsdale every weekend? No, he was not.
I think I went to Old Town Scottsdale one time, my friend bachelor's party, and we went to Hi-Fi, and I was at a table, and they got a table, and I thought they already paid for the table because I didn't have no money. I was a police officer. I was broke, going check to check. And they got a table, and I'm there, and they got these girls coming in the table, drinking, everybody having a good time. And at the end of the night, they're like, oh, we owe $1,500 at this tab. And I'm like, and then nobody's credit card approved. And so I had to pay half of it on I said, man, I'm never doing this again. I'm never going out again.
It's not the going out part. You need better friends.
Man, it was my boy. You know, he wasn't going to pay for it. It was his bachelor's party. And then his best man, credit card declined. All these brothers' credit cards declining. Mine is the only one didn't decline, and I only had like $800 on it. So
that's why dudes, I can't even say men, want to take women to coffee because they spent all their money trying to impress girls at the club, spending their money on a bottle, on a table.
No, they were trying to impress the last 5 dates they were on, taking them to sushi.
So they only got coffee money for a date.
Oh my God, that was crazy. So anyway, I love you guys, man. I'm gonna get up off here before we just talk too much. Sound like a movie I watch. That's funny. But I appreciate you guys, baby. You have anything else?
No.
Somebody said, when is your next meet and greet? I don't know. I'm really thinking about it because my book comes out November the 30th, and I want to have a major event where y'all can come out. We can have a party and do some book signing or whatever. There's a couple restaurants that I had in mind. If you own a restaurant and you're watching this, or you know somebody that own a restaurant that you think would be a pretty cool venue. I mean, I have a friend, my friend Tommy has a couple restaurants. Scottsdale Gun Club. There's another gun club that has a restaurant connected to the gun club, which we did a police fundraiser at. I'm gonna think about it. I probably should have like a brief meet and greet before that, so we can kind of do a test run of a venue. And I would love to meet you guys, man. I mean, so many people see me around the country and say what's up.
Someone said go on Jesse Lee Peterson's show with your wife.
Me and Jesse Lee Peterson end up fighting after that show.
Why?
I don't know. I don't think we would. He be saying some weird. He be real disrespectful sometimes, but
I don't think he would be to a married woman. He would be to like a single woman.
He wouldn't. He wouldn't, because before we got married, you know, he was, you know, his whole thing was get married. And I told him, I said, we're gonna get married because he don't, you know, people should be shacking and living with people they ain't married to. But we had that conversation, and my wife is traditional. So Jesse Lee is like totally against Candace Owens not staying at home with the baby, and which is you know, he be saying some weird stuff. But let's see. You need a little girl. No, I don't want girls. They grow up be a hot mess. No, I'm just playing. Guess you raise them right, they won't be a hot mess.
Exactly.
Says Tatum dropped the beat Tatum But intro for the outro. All right. I think it'll play. I don't know if it'll play, man. Let me see. Is it this one? See, I don't think you guys can hear this.
We have to get a new theme song.
Oh, yeah, we got it. What would our theme song be?
I don't know.
All right. Somebody said never heard of Major. So if you never heard them, but if you hear of them, now you know.
Now you know.
All right, man. We love you guys. I appreciate it. I can't wait for us to start our channel. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna give you guys some real entertainment. But I love you guys. Just know that we're pretty confident about this lawsuit against Major. If you read the title when you came in, but we'll talk to you guys later. We'll leave this video up. God bless you. We'll see you guys on the next one. We're out.